Okay, if you're an empath who feels like you've done years of healing and life still hasn't fully opened, this isn't because you missed something. It's because healing was never meant to be the place where you stay. I'm Diane, and welcome to The Resolution. Today, we're going to talk about what it actually means to move from healing into grounded, sovereign living as a sensitive person. By the end of this video, you're going to understand why you're feeling stuck after years of healing, and that it doesn't mean that you're behind, and what stage you're actually in right now. So this isn't actually a call out or a correction, and it's definitely not an attack on healing, because healing matters. That saves lives. Healing gives language to pain. This is about sequence. And what happens when something that was meant to be a doorway accidentally becomes a room? You know, something is happening with empaths right now. Sensitivity is returning. Awareness is deepening. Old coping strategies are falling apart. For many people, this really feels unsettling because the very thing that has kept you safe isn't working anymore. Some of us were born sensitive and learned to dim ourselves to belong. And some of us were forged through fire and learned to armor up just to survive. Different beginnings, but same nervous system burden. But here's the part most empaths don't realize. Healing, even healing, can quietly become the thing that keeps you stuck. If you've ever felt like you're doing everything right, but still not moving forward, this next part will change how you see your entire journey. Something personal. I'll just share something personal. There was a moment in my own life when I realized I wasn't actually healing anymore. I was on my healing journey, right? I was staying vigilant. I was scanning myself. I was monitoring my emotions, asking what needs work, why is that triggering, digging. And nothing was really wrong, but I couldn't rest. And then when it clicked, I wasn't in pain. I was actually in recovery mode, and my body didn't need any more processing. It needed permission to stop. Whether you were nurtured but unseen or traumatized and hyper-aware, you likely learned the same lesson early on, that your sensitivity had to be managed. So, what do? We become perceptive. We learn to read rooms. We learn to feel others before we feel ourselves. And at some point, healing became the place where all of that finally made sense. Like we were starting to feel seen. Healing gave context. Healing gave you compassion, and healing gave you relief. And that was all very necessary. But here's where something subtle happens, especially for empaths. Healing quietly ends up becoming an identity. Processing becomes a habit. Revisiting becomes safety. Staying open becomes proof that you're doing the work. So instead of completing, the system keeps reopening. So healing is real, but when it becomes the identity, pain stays central. And that's not growth. That's circulation. And circulation can feel like movement without any real change. You know, the nervous system doesn't actually respond to intentions. It responds to charge. The universe doesn't respond to what we want. It actually responds to what's unresolved. Unfinished emotional loops keep signaling, pay attention here. Pay attention to this part. So life keeps offering the same lessons. Not as a punishment, but just as feedback. Because that's what we're giving out. We have to keep revisiting all these moments in our lives that we feel needs to be changed. So when our focus is there, that's what comes back. That's what mirrors back to us. Not because you're broken, but because something hasn't been integrated yet. Right? Integration is not bypassing and it's not shutting down. Integration is when the nervous system finally realized, I survived. And I don't need to brace anymore. Integration is completion. It's like boundaries without guilt, empathy without collapse, awareness without absorption. You don't stop feeling, you stop leaking. That's what sovereignty looks like for an empath. You know, the world is loud, the systems are unstable, sensitive people are overloaded. And the world doesn't need more wounded feelers. It needs regulated ones. People who can feel deeply and stay grounded. Who can sense truth without burning out. Who can lead without rescuing. Lead without rescuing. It's a tough one. So before we end, I want to offer a simple moment of grounding. If it feels okay, you can place one hand somewhere on your body that feels neutral and comforting. Take a slow breath in. I actually use my, right here, I don't know if that's because, for the longest time, my throat chakra, my throat area was, what needed to be healed the most, or, your heart. And let's just take a slow breath in. And when you breathe out, make sure that your out breath is longer than your in breath, because that signals your body to relax, signals your body to calm. So you take a slow breath in and a longer breath out. There's nothing to fix. There's nothing to process. There's nothing to understand. Just notice. In this moment, you are safe. In this moment, you're safe. May what no longer needs to be carried soften. May what has already healed be allowed to rest. And may your sensitivity return to you, not as a burden, but as wisdom. You don't have to rush the next step. Integration happens when the body is allowed to arrive. This isn't the end of your healing. It's the end of recovery mode. And it's a beautiful time. So thank you so much for joining me today. On this recording. It is Sunday. And where I live, it's a little bit rainy out. So happy to be here with you guys. And so honored to be a part of your journey, and honored to have you a part of mine. And if you feel it's called, it's really helpful for us new channels if you share, like, comment, subscribe. That would be really helpful to me. I like to help as many empaths as possible, and I look forward to seeing you all on the next video.